In recent times, international breaks have become something we encounter far too often, and they've turned into a real nightmare for many football fans. According to a recent survey, nearly 80% of football fans hate these breaks and think they are completely unnecessary. As a result, club-level competitions have become even more popular, reigniting the debate. Are international breaks really pointless? Let's take a closer look at the reasons behind these discussions and whether international breaks are truly necessary. Don't forget to take 2 seconds to subscribe to our channel for more content like this, including analysis and stories. International football breaks are actually an opportunity for you to support your national team and see your players in action. The matches during these breaks can range from finals, sometimes tournament qualifiers, or even friendly matches. These periods are also important for players to develop team chemistry and help the national team improve. Of course, only certain fans can appreciate these situations because for some, these international breaks, except for finals, are seen as a complete waste of time. With an already packed schedule, these breaks are often viewed as unnecessary, and they're not entirely wrong. Just as the season starts, we get used to the teams, certain players start standing out, and then, suddenly, there's an international break. This season, there will be a total of 4 international breaks. The first break took place from September 2nd to 10th, while the second one, which we're in right now, is from October 7th to 15th. The third break will occur from November 11th to 19th, after which there will be a significant gap, and finally, the last break will take place from March 17th to 25th. In total, that's 4 breaks in one season, lasting about a month. International breaks are, of course, necessary, but tournaments like the Nations League and similar competitions in many federations have taken things too far. Interest in international matches played during the season has dropped more than ever, largely because of this. The more matches, more money philosophy has already shown its negative effects on the international side, with the first signs appearing in the Euro 2024 Championship. In the coming years, FIFA will bombard us with even more international breaks and matches because they now view the international level as a massive industry, just like club football. There are many reasons why football fans dislike international breaks, the simplest being that you're separated from your favorite team or players during that time. But there's another side to it. Many coaches feel the same way. While they might view the break as a chance to rest, they are constantly on edge about their key players. If your team's most important player goes to play for the national team, the risk of injury becomes a major concern. Every year, injuries sustained during national team duty are a common occurrence. Although FIFA offers many assurances for injured players, these are mostly financial. Think about it. Losing your club's key player to an injury during an international break feels like a huge loss. The risk of injury while playing for the national team is higher than in club matches because when representing their country, players give everything they've got. Of course, this concern mainly applies to players who don't see their national team duties as just a financial opportunity. Let me give you another example of how international schedules affect football clubs. We all know that the Africa Cup of Nations is held in January, and during this time, many top African players leave their clubs. This happens in the middle of the season, at a crucial point, and raises the question, how fair is this for both the club and the player? This is exactly why many teams hesitate to sign African players, as there is uncertainty surrounding their availability. For instance, a few years ago when Real Madrid needed a goalkeeper, Moroccan keeper Bono was on their radar, but they backed out because of the Africa Cup of Nations. Additionally, there's the risk that these mid-season breaks can negatively impact a player's form. A player who returns from an international tournament might struggle to regain their previous performance, especially if they faced disappointment during the competition. For example, after losing the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations final to Senegal, Mohamed Salah, who had started the season brilliantly, saw his form dip drastically. To make matters worse, Egypt also failed to qualify for the World Cup that same year, further damaging Salah's performance. It took a long time for him to recover his form. Another issue is how the style of play is affected. Due to international breaks, players can lose touch with the roles and tactics they are accustomed to at their clubs. Take Brazilian players, for example. How many of them can fully replicate the football they play at their clubs when playing for the Brazil national team? These are some of the reasons why international breaks are even seen negatively by top managers. In 2006, Arsène Wenger had a memorable comment regarding international breaks. "I compare national team managers to people who steal cars from your garage. They take your player without asking, use them like they'll never need them again, and then return them to you like a car that's out of fuel and in need of repair. And then the cycle repeats." While his words are harsh, they hit the mark. The real issue is not with the national teams, players, or clubs, but with poor organization at the very top of football. Now, let's discuss why fans dislike international breaks. The pinnacle of football is the World Cup, which is an international tournament. But despite being the most watched sporting event in the world, outside of the finals, many international matches feel like a burden to fans. The slow tempo and defensive tactics in tournaments like the Nations League are why fans don't engage with international matches as much. Instead of adding excitement, many international games seem more focused on avoiding defeat rather than playing to win. As a result, outside of qualifiers and finals, most international matches fail to capture fans' attention. UEFA introduced the Nations League to bring some excitement, but many fans view the tournament as completely unnecessary. The biggest benefit of the Nations League is that it gives smaller teams an extra chance to qualify for the European Championship, and of course, it impacts FIFA rankings. But rather than boosting excitement, the tournament has been a flop. How exciting can a match between Gibraltar and San Marino really be? Matches at this level only serve to decrease the excitement, in my opinion. Oceania and North America aside, Europe is where the outcomes of matches are often predictable, and the gap between teams is the widest. While the most expensive and strongest national teams are based here, the weakest ones are also found in Europe. This often leads to matches being easily predictable in advance. Teams like San Marino, Andorra, and Gibraltar enter matches not only with the hope of earning points or scoring goals, but also with the mindset of minimizing goals conceded. Of course, I don't blame them. Many of their players aren't even full-time professional footballers. This wide gap between teams reduces the chances of surprises to almost zero, which leads to football fans rarely feeling excited about these matches. The sheer number of weak teams in Europe results in a lack of enthusiasm for most games. Another reason for the boredom fans feel is the quality of play. Fans who are used to watching high-quality matches at the club level every week are suddenly met with the slow pace of international matches, which disrupts their routine. How exciting could a low-tempo 14-0 match between France and Gibraltar really be? Games like these, where real footballers face amateur players, simply aren't engaging. This is why fans generally dislike international breaks unless it's a critical qualifying process. Without that high-stakes element, international football fails to capture their interest. Of course, there are also fans who thoroughly enjoy international matches. A prime example of this can be seen in CONMEBOL. We all know the passion for football in South America, where national teams are held in even higher regard than club teams. As a result, international matches are incredibly popular, with the most intense being the Argentina versus Brazil match. South American fans view these matches as a rare chance to see their overseas players back home, turning national games into an exciting opportunity. For fans in that region, these teams represent pure passion, and playing for money is never a concern. Unlike some European national teams, you won't see naturalized players in South American teams. so you're more likely to witness players giving everything they have on the field. In fact, it's almost guaranteed that South American fans and players see international breaks not as a break, but as a grand festival. Similarly, countries with weaker leagues but strong national teams are also big fans of international breaks. They follow the matches with great enthusiasm, just like in South America. Countries like Croatia, Georgia, and Albania come to mind as examples where fans really enjoy international games. For them, the break is full of excitement. Ultimately, international matches are often moments when fans of different teams unite under one banner, sharing in the excitement together. However, if you're from a dominant football nation like France, England, or Spain, where even a draw would be a surprise, you're less likely to feel excited about international matches. Former Arsenal manager Arsène Wenger once proposed a solution to this waning interest in national football. Instead of hosting tournaments like the Nations League, we should hold the World Cup every 2 years. He argued that this would not only increase interest in international matches, but also improve the quality of football and boost revenue. Another idea on the table is to hold tournament qualifiers in the summer, but these are still just thoughts. Regardless, there's a need for clear reforms, as the viewership for international matches is dropping, and no one wants to watch a tournament or match where some players are not giving their best effort. This is especially true for preparatory tournaments like the Nations League, where, with the growing number of club matches, national teams are seen as an extra burden. As a result, many players may retire early from international football. So, what do you think? Are international breaks really unnecessary? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.